fear of missing out. Like, I want them to know that I have one of the best places to work for. We have the best leadership and we have the best culture, and they're missing out if they're not with us.
You ready? Ready to rock? Okay.
Yep.
Welcome to the Raquel Show. How many of you guys have ever heard the quote, earn, not given? My special guest today, her journey is all about that. She's one of the very few women that I know that I can say truly runs multiple businesses, is an investor, and profit matters to this woman. She understands people and business on a whole nother level. She was the #1 real estate agent for the whole state of Kentucky, and now is in multiple states and has a #1 expansion team in multiple states. I cannot wait for you to hear all the wisdom this lady has. Get ready. You may even listen to this episode a couple of times. Welcome to the show, Kellyanne Harris.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Raquel.
I have waited for this episode for so long, and I'm excited to have you. So we're going to dive right into it. Walk us through your journey, because you have a beautiful story. Walk us through your journey of like how you got to where you got today. And before you say that, I just want to let people know, where are you at today? How many companies do you have? And then we'll go backwards.
So I'm from Owensboro, Kentucky. It is a town around 100,000 people. I'm in the western part of the state. Unfortunately, a lot of my people got hit. Their families got affected by the tornado. So I'm where the tornado just was. And it is February 10th, 2022. So whenever you're listening to this, we got hit in December. And yeah, from a small town. I live on 30 acres. I live in a pole barn house. I have a 12-year-old, soon to be 13-year-old son who's in every sport there is, I feel like.
Amazing. So she's from Kentucky. And how many companies do you have today that you oversee? Because I know you had to count them all right before.
Well, I'm in 15 different locations between all the companies. I have Keller Williams franchises, and we are in 9 locations, 3 market centers, 9 locations. I have an expansion team that is in 6 locations called the Bluegrass Referral Network. I have a property management company. I have a maintenance company that services property management or like my agents' needs on inspections. I have a crew of guys. We flip houses constantly. I have a large rental portfolio that varies from single family homes to duplexes to strip centers to commercial buildings. So I kind of do a little bit of a lot of things. I'm also invested in some franchises that have nothing to do with real estate. That's a whole nother story for another day. But anyway, so yeah, that's me.
I think I just stopped counting after 15 because I think it was like 20 plus. So I just wanted people to hear like, oh my gosh, this woman has a lot to share when you're managing at that high level or when you're owning at that high level. So let's talk about your story.
And I left out, I also have a title company in 2 states, and we're building other things, like lots of other things constantly. So I am 37 years old. I got into real estate 12 years ago. Before that, I graduated from Western Kentucky University, and I was a Miller Lite girl in my college days. And then I went and worked for Clark Distributing, which is a Miller and Coors distributor and some other products. I was their on-premise manager. So I was in the beer industry for a long time, selling in product, doing promotions, putting on events, treating my clients that I sell product into, you name it. I was like that relationship builder. Then beer industry tanked 2009. Whenever the economy kind of goes down, a lot of times first things they eliminate is alcohol. So that kind of went to crap. I got laid off, unfortunately. And it's funny, I still talk to my employee. Like, it was really hard on him to let me go. They say that like they've never gone back to having that position in the company. But he always said, he's like, we always sold more product when you were around. So I kind of had sales in my background forever. And then I got laid off. At that time, I had a 6-month-old son, single mom, and My life was like, I probably went through postpartum depression, prayed every day. I was talking about how at certain times God walks with us a lot stronger. At that point in my life, he was walking beside me and he guided me in the direction to get into real estate. My best friend, who's now my business partner in my property management, properties, all that, we were living together. He's one of my best friends, married my best friend, and he was flipping houses. I had the light bulb idea. He always says that he picked the wrong career, but he was flipping. And I said, well, I got one client, I can sell houses to him. So I went and got my real estate license. Everybody tried to talk me out of it. Even some of the people that you love try to talk you out of it because they're scared and they have fear around failure for you, right? Well, I did it because nobody tells Kellyanne that she can't do something. And when somebody tells Kellyanne that it's not going to happen, then Kellyanne goes, I'll prove you wrong. So
this is why we get along.
Yes. So 3 years, fast forward 3 years, I was the number one agent in my MLS. I had done over 100 units, did it again year 4 and was the number one Remax agent in the state of Kentucky. But I was I had one assistant who was just really much a personal assistant. And I didn't know that that was a big deal. Like I was just like coming from the background of selling beer and like knowing a lot of people and having I always said I had my groupies that would follow me because I'd give out free product. That's how I really got to know my community, believe it or not. And then growing up in my community, well, then I got number one agent in Remax, but I didn't know. And then I went on a retreat and I was telling Raquel, I hiked. And I remember in that moment, I was hiking Camelback. Like my life was like, I'm sure my son at that time was 4. I'm sure he saw the top of my head from looking at my phone. It was spinning out of control. I was not happy. I was making tons of money, but I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. At that point, I heard about this team thing, then did the team thing. Wasn't getting really any help or any assistance or any guidance. Joined my current franchise, KW. That was year 5 into the industry. Yeah, year 5. I had a team, lost a bunch of money when I first started a team because I didn't know how to do it. I remember that year I took like a $400K pay cut. Like it was crazy. I'm being very vulnerable here. And like, I'm just saying like, we have expenses. We don't always take that home. But and I remember I had credit card debt. I'm open book to my team. I had credit card debt. I was just in a bad place because didn't know what to do. Joined KW, launched a market center, my first market center. 2 years later, I launched another one. My team kind of just like stayed here because I was really like learning leadership, learning how to be the best human I can be for my people and grow my people. I couldn't do this by myself. I knew I needed a team, but I just didn't know how. So I kind of pivoted through that, failed multiple times. And then fast forward, now we are an expansion team in 6 locations. We did 621 deals last year as an expansion team. And then all of my brokerages, all my expansion team, we did about $800 million in volume.
What's your price point? Because I think it's important to know.
Yeah. So the price point forever was like 130, 140, 130, 140,000. And now where I'm at now is 200. So most of the locations that I'm in are 200 to 220. And then just recently I went to, I'm going to Charleston, South Carolina. So that's a little bit bigger. I have a market center in Columbus, Ohio. We're more close to that 280 there, depending on where you're at in Columbus. So, it's scaling, I'm getting into bigger markets, but what was really important along the journey is blooming where I was planted first. And so I even though I've had all this growth, the last really, let's see, my second market center was in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. So like that's 2. So the growth has really happened over 3 or 4 years. But then, for the first 7 to 8 years, I was only in Owensboro and I got really good at home base.
Oh, this is so good. I have so much to unpack around everything that you said. You cracked the code to 100 homes as a solo agent. What year?
Yeah, that had never been done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What year was that? Because that's a big deal. And it's still a big deal today.
2013.
2013. teen, and now you have people on your teams that have hit that marker as well.
Yeah, and they hit it a lot. Yeah, Kelsey hit it. I think it took her 3 years. I remember thinking it took her less time than me. So I think it might have been my 4th year. I hit 100, and then she hit hers in her 3rd year, and then Denise hit hers in her second and a half year. It's crazy. Yeah.
So once you have a model, it's kind of like a franchise. Mm-hmm. It only takes one to open and expose the playbook. Then we do it better every single year, and it gets quicker for that level of success. So my question is, you went from solo agent producer at a high level, and then went to an owner or a team, like started to build a team. And then now multiple businesses, owners, and investors. What was the shift for you in mindset? Because I see a lot of people have a hard time with some of those transitions. And what advice would you give to some of those people?
That's a great question. So I always say the shift becomes the world is no longer about you, right? And it becomes about the people that you serve every day. And it's okay. Like when we're first starting off in real estate, it is all about you because you're just trying to freaking make it, right? Mm-hmm. But then that is not fulfilling. Eventually, once you hit that goal, you're like, what's next? Oh my God, this is empty hollowness, right? Like it is hollow success that leaves you still feeling empty at the end of the day. And I try to teach new agents that, like, you know, but I think we're in feast or famine mode when we're trying to get into it. And then you're, you know, as you like, oh, I made it. Then it becomes, can I be a good teammate? Can I be a good leader? Well, how can I lift other people up? Because that is the most gratifying thing, is whenever you start seeing, you know, these people hitting these things and feeling the same way. And what's amazing I'm seeing now is, I always say, you can always know what kind of leader you're following by the people they've created. So if you look at this leader and you choose to follow a leader, how many people have they raised up? Or are they still the center of attention? Right. And so that's a really good example of who you're in business with matters. And who have these, like when you're looking at aligning yourself with a person, is who else have they helped along the way? And if it's nobody, you may want to reconsider who you're aligning.
Oh my gosh, who you're in business with matters. Let's talk about that. That is like a hot topic that I don't think gets talked about enough. Or how do you find those right people? And you've had a lot of people, I mean, with that many companies, you've had a lot of people that adore you and love you and have stayed with you for years. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about culture and let's talk about people. How do you find these people? What is it that you do to create the culture or the leader that you need to be for people to continue to do business or be in business with you?
So social media is everything. I'm going to go to that because people can't find you unless you're broadcasting it. So when I'm looking for talent or looking to be aligned with someone, I'm going to be my vulnerable self on my platforms so that those other people that are like me are attracted to me. So what you say out there in the public in your story is how you're going to find talent. I cannot stand when someone says, I can't find talent. I don't know anybody. I mean, nobody wants to work. Yeah, but like turn the finger back on yourself because you're not asking for it. You're not putting out to the universe that you want this. So what I have found a lot of people organically, either like I met Kelsey at the gym. I met Denise, who has been a rock star. I met her through another realtor that was on the team at the time who said, I think this girl would be aligned because that realtor knew the speed I was going and the speed this woman brought to the table. I put stuff out there. Some of my expansion partners have raised their hand and called me and said, I want to be in business with you, Kellyanne, because you're doing big things and I want to be aligned with you. And so a lot of these partnerships I haven't gone after. They've been attracted to me. And I don't want to force anyone to get into business with me. And I'm not going to talk anybody into a job. So my job is to put out there what I'm looking for, what we're about. I always say FOMO. Jesse, my my guy's always like, what's FOMO? I'm a photographer. And I had to be like, fear of missing out. Like, I want them to know that I have one of the best places to work for. We have the best leadership and we have the best culture, and they're missing out if they're not with us. And so that is our theme on all of our platforms. And I'm just real. Like, I mean, from rural Kentucky, you're not going to, it is what it is. So I can't spell. I have horrible grammar. People say, did that person go to Kellyanne school? Because they spell wrong. So I am who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm very proud of like what I've built and who I've become and the person and the Christian I am. So I'm going to put it out there to the world, and God is going to bless me with people I need to be in business with.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. And I love talking about culture because I think culture drives a lot of things in a business. And with you having multiple companies, and I'm sure they all have their individuality when it comes to culture, how do you continue to align that culture if it does get out of whack?
So I always say a good example is I am slow to hire, quick to fire. Our process, I swear, is 6 weeks to get on with us. And I've heard people go through the process like, oh my gosh. And we tell them like, hey, the process is long because I protect my people, and I'm not going to bring a bad apple into my organization because I've unfortunately had those moments, or maybe just two people didn't jive. So the whole team makes a decision. If one person raises their head and says, I don't think this person's going to fit, we don't hire them. And so we do a long process. And as soon as I get some red flags, once they enter our organization, I poll the people. What do you think? How are you feeling about this? And if it's feeding negativity, which I do not tolerate very long in my life, like it just exits me, then we're not afraid to let that person go, because evidently this is probably not the environment for them. And I'm not for everyone. Like, I am a high D, I scroll a lot, I have a lot of energy, I can wear you out. So if that is not your jive, it's probably not a win-win for them either. Right.
Do you have a process that you go through? Because I'm sure at this level, you constantly have opportunities. And you said you have lots of ideas. You love to run fast. Do you have a process that you go through to say, yes, I'm going to take on this opportunity, or no? Because I'm sure that you get a ton of opportunities at the level that you're at.
I do. I remember one of my very first mentors said, Kelly, you need to stock up some cash because you're going to get offered opportunity after opportunity. And I've been offered several opportunities, and I'm like, that's just not in alignment with where I'm going right now. One, who you're in business with matters. I'm not getting in business with someone if I don't know their financials. I'm also making sure that we're in alignment. Like, we have this common goal. I can work a lot, but I'm not going to be in a partnership where I'm pulling all the weight. I'm not going to have somebody on my coattails that's just wanting to be on my coattails because I do big things. And also, I just want to make sure like it fills me up. Like, I'm in a point now where, I have some big financial ambitions because I want to give back really big. And I want to give back to some organizations that have a huge impact in my life and that I think make a difference. And so I'm really chasing also like making my world bigger for my people, because they all want to build businesses within my organization. So I know I have to keep going so they make more income for their family and the organizations they want to give back at. But if I get my gut usually tells me everything. Like, it's not like an interview. Like, I know, like, is this person going to fill me up or drain me? And I've had partnerships that things just didn't mesh, and it's okay, because I'm not going to mesh with everyone, and they might not going to mesh with me. But I'm okay with having that conversation of, does this feel good? Like, how do you feel? Like, having more conversations. Where are we going? What's the ultimate goal? I just sat down with my business partners yesterday, and we had an hour-long session. We have another half day next week. And we sat there and we wrote our GPS, our 1-3-5, our one goal, our 3 strategy, and our 5 priorities to get there. And so we just have a meeting of minds of like, where are we going? We're not fumbling, rolling the dice. We have a clear direction and roadmap. And now we just got to figure out the strategies to get there.
So good. How do you manage this all? I'm sure people are listening like, oh my gosh, she's got so much knowledge. She's got a lot of different companies. She's got great people. How do you keep a pulse on everything? Also being a mama, a sports mama too. You've got a son that's very active in sports, which I love. And so how do you manage it all?
I honestly have an amazing life. Like big is not bad. A lot of people say, Kellyanne, don't want as big as world as you. And I'm like, well, my world is amazing. Like I'm off at night. I'm off on the weekends. I get to travel with my son. I get to travel to retreats, to conventions. I get to lead things. Like my life was horrible 7 years ago. Like I never want that life again. So how I do it, my calendar. I'm a 5:30 in the morning person. I wake up. I start my day with scripture, my I ams, my gratitude, who I'm grateful for. That really gets me going. I work out in the afternoon now. If you work out in the morning, I used to be a 5 a.m. workouter, but I have a accountability partner. And so that works best with her schedule in the afternoon. And then I just do breathe. I don't turn anything on. I don't look at my phone. I sit in my little chair I'm a big sunrise person. So that's what I do. And then I just get going. I'm usually going at a lot of my offices are in Eastern time. So I have to start an hour before me. So I'm usually going by 7 a.m., dropping kid off if it's my week. And then I'm more like, if it's not on my calendar, I'm not doing it. And so my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are jam-packed of 30-minute sessions, hour-long stuff drains my core. So we're not going to do things for an hour. I lose 45 minutes. I can do that unless we're doing a retreat. So we're 30-minute sessions. Where are we at? Where are we going? What did we get accomplished last week? What did we get accomplished today? Every one of my business partners I meet with every single week. I think that's super important to see where we're at so that we can keep going fast. And then I coach some agents, once a month, some of my big top agents in my brokerages. I teach classes, but it's on my calendar, and my calendar is booked out for the whole year of every convention, every retreat, everything to kind of lift me up, all my vacations. I plan ahead. All that stuff goes on my calendar first. Then the rest kind of gets dropped in on my schedule. My Thursdays and Fridays, they're a little bit more white space. What does Kellyanne want to do? Does Kellyanne want to go take a list of house? Does Kellyanne want to build a presentation? Does Kellyanne need thinking or brain power? Does she want to go to lunch? Like I still enjoy that freedom of the realtor life where I get to go and pick and do what I want to do when I want to do. So since I lead companies now, it's different because I have to have all these check-ins and all these coaching and conversations, but I really enjoyed like being able on Thursday and Fridays to still do what Kelly wants to do.
This is amazing. Number one, because it's truly a life by design. People think that if you go bigger, it's actually going to be more overwhelming. If I'm overwhelmed now, it's going to be more overwhelming. And what you just heard is structure and organization can actually present a really big life. And why not plan it ahead of time and have a life that you truly want, a life by design versus living in chaos?
Mm-hmm.
Love. You said something earlier that I want to just kind of touch on. You said that I am so grateful or inspired or motivated by the people in my organization because I want them to have the opportunity because they want to build businesses within my businesses. That's really high level abundance thinking. Where does that come from? How did you come up with that? Because I think that's for someone to want to build, another leader to want to build a business within your businesses and not go do it on their own, because that's the norm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take everything that I learned from Kellyanne and I'm going to go build my own team, or I'm going to build my own company.
Yeah. So there's different ways that they can do that in an organization. They can have blood, sweat, and tears where they earn equity over time, certain productions or certain services that they deliver the team, or they can bring money to the table and do it that way too. Where did it come from? It came from a leader that their world didn't get big enough for me. And I kept pushing and pushing and pushing that leader. And that leader did not, great person, always been a great mentor. The person just probably didn't have the tools to help my world get bigger. So then I left that leader. I still respect that leader to my core. I do. But I made a promise to myself that I didn't want to be that leader for my people. This was my passion. This is my zone of genius. I went through pitfalls of being a realtor and being burnt out, not having joy out of picking up a phone and talking to a client. and I wanted to be different. And I have so much passion about giving my agents and my people in my business that work for my agents that opportunity to get away and have that freedom. And have just, it's like the whole holistic approach. Like I'm just very big on that. I think a lot of times what I see is that we get greedy and we want it all. And so when people challenge us that they want their own team or they want this, we don't think big enough on what does that look like if we did that together? Could they get there faster? And so it just becomes a win-win conversation of, do you really want to go reinvent all this? Because I have all these brilliant people that I work with every day, and you got to go find those brilliant people again. The infrastructure is already built. Let's just go fast, because at the end of the day, it's all about, it's about life, freedom, and profit, right? And so if we can all still make more profit because we're together, why would we not do it together? But I think a lot of times we get caught up in our ego, and it has to be our name, or it has to be our company, or we had to start it. And man, get the ego out the door. I'm here to have some freedom and make some money and impact lives. And who cares? Who cares how we get there? Let's get there. You're not going to get there that big without other people. There is no way. It takes a team of people, and it takes a team of people that are in alignment, that are after the same goal.
Mic drop moment. You couldn't have said it any better, Kellyanne, and that's why you were Kellyanne. And as we look back, is what has been the biggest lesson during your journey that impacted you the most?
Hiring too fast just because I needed bodies and not getting the right. But I also think that I needed to learn that. I needed to learn what didn't feel right and what felt right. So I appreciate that I went through that. So the biggest impact is just all my failures from probably in my beginning days of being a leader. I was more of a dictator, right? Like, we got to get this done. This client needs this. And I was scared that balls were going to get dropped because they weren't getting the customer service that I was giving them, right? And so now it is like, I just wasn't. I was on my leadership journey and never led nobody. I didn't know how to do that. And so, I got into coaching, I got into therapy. I prayed a lot, and the Lord took me on a journey to make me a better person. And so, but you're not going to figure this out without other people helping you see your blind spots.
What's your main focus today as you go throughout your day? With all these things that are happening, there's like that 80-20 focus on the 20%. What would you say is your 20% today?
Empowering my leaders. And then now my leaders are empowering others. So we are in that evolution, right? So now I've empowered all these people. They all have these big businesses. They're becoming millionaires. Mm-hmm. If they're not already millionaires, they have tons of property. I'm empowering my admin team to build businesses within my admin team that are spinoffs, so that they can have financial success greater than they ever imagined because they're aligned with us. So my biggest thing is teaching them leadership, teaching them how to be patient, how to talk to an agent, because I got to give them the space, and I got to take the back seat and let them fail through it sometimes. And they can't, by me telling people what to do is not how they learn. They've got to go, I got to put them out there. I got to allow them to fail. I got to be okay with them failing, because I know it's the only way we're going to move forward. So my focus is, how can I empower my people every day I wake up? Because I have this handful of people that get most of my time. And so that's what I do. I just do nothing but pour into them.
Love, love, love. What's one habit that you've sustained through this whole journey that has contributed to your success today?
I've always worked out. I've always prayed. I pray every night, every morning and every night with my son. So this has been a huge foundation of what I've built. And then making sure my mental health and my physical health stays in line. My degree was in dietetics, nutritionist, and I had a minor in exercise physiology. So I've always been big on staying healthy. And I feel like if you don't stay healthy, then it's hard to keep the job's tough. I got days it spits me out and throws me up. And so I gotta make sure that I stay sane through all this.
So true. And as we wrap up, this is the question that I ask all my guests is, what do you do to play bigger in business and in life?
Well, Raquel, you're a huge contributor to that. You've really pushed me to think bigger. And we've had how much growth? Like 3 times growth since you have been coaching my organization. I get away. Like, I feel like that when I'm here, I'm super creative and a big visionary thinker and a big entrepreneur, but I got to step away from here and kind of be by myself because I'm in business with all people that I'm raising up, and I need to be the visionary thinker. I need to be helping them bring new ideas. And so if I'm here, like Amber always says, go on more of those trips with Raquel, do more of that. Like when you come back, you have all these ideas, because when I'm here, even though I might have some ideas, they're a lot bigger and faster when I get away from the nitty gritty and just am I by myself, and I don't have mom guilt.
Oh my gosh, talk about that. How do you not have mom guilt with the big companies that you run, single mama, right? How do you not have mom guilt? That's like my
Well, he has an amazing dad and stepmom that play a vital role in that. And I'm very grateful for my relationship with them. And I think you'll see a trend almost every partnership relationship that I'm in. It is a good one. Like I cannot not be in a good one, even if it takes me not getting my way or, picking my battles. So we're every other week. So, the weeks I have my son, I'm completely 150% mom. He comes first before any of my work. I never miss a game. I never, unless I'm on a convention, rarely, but most of the time I'm there. 95% of the time, mom is in that stand. So I don't have guilt. I'm teaching. It's crazy how much he repeats back to me and what he says and what he's learning. And I know that it's a team effort, raising him to be such a great young man. And, I just don't have mom guilt. Like being a parent is hard, no matter what side, no matter if you've got being a parent full time or you split your time, like it is hard. And I think a lot of times as we're parents and we lose ourselves in our children's lives. And, if you read the Bible, I mean, if you're married, your marriage comes first. I'm not married, but your marriage comes first, before your children, right? Your spouse does. And so I think that there's good examples of making sure you keep yourself, like you are still a human. Do not lose yourself in this short span of raising a child. Like you still deserve to be your best self. And if you don't take time to be your best self and to get away from that, you're not going to be the best mama or the best daddy or the best stepmom or stepdad. Like you're just, because you're drained and then you're irritable
from a tired cup, right? Or a stressed out cup or an empty cup, as they say. I have absolutely loved our talk and conversation today. I love your abundant thinking. I love how you give your people endless and limited opportunities. And I know your vision continues to keep growing by the second. And where can people find and connect you if they want to see what you're up to, if they want to see where you're expanding to next, what opportunities you have? Because I know you've got a ton of opportunities for people. Because you just have, like I said, you have that abundant mind thinking. And it's very rare that I meet people like that. So where can people connect with you?
So you can connect with me on social. So my Instagram is Kellyanne, KELYANNE_KW broker, or Instagram, Kellyanne Harris. I have 5,000 friends. So just, you can follow me and then you can DM me and I will try to delete someone and add you. And then Kellyanne@kw.com is my email address. We're the Bluegrass Referral Network or the KW Synergy Brokerage Network are 2 big mothership companies.
Amazing. So make sure if you've gotten value out of today's episode, make sure you tag Kellyanne, and we'll put it in the show notes on Instagram, and share this episode. Thank you so much, Kelly, for your time today. I'm super honored that you were on our show, and I cannot wait for people to connect with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Raquel.